Hey, welcome back everybody. Steve Looney here from GraphicDesignerTips.com. In today's video tutorial, I'm going to be showing you exactly how to build what you're seeing on the screen right now, which is a small advertisement for a client of mine that we in turn put in a local publication. Now, we're going to be building this in Adobe CC 2014 Illustrator, and we're going to be doing something with the image that you're seeing on the piece in Photoshop. So what's really cool about this though is there's a lot of the stuff that applies to earlier versions of Adobe. So even if you don't have CC 2014, you should definitely be able to follow along. Now, before I get into actually moving things around and setting up the document, I want to just go over the piece really quick. Starting from the top, we're basically looking at their logo, their branding, which they've had for many years, provided to me. I keep those colors consistent throughout the entire piece. I'm going to show you how to work with type in here. I'm going to show you in turn in the end how to add the bleed, which you're seeing past the artboard lines, which is the black line right there. How to add the bleed properly for print, because this needed to bleed to the edge so it could print perfectly in the publication. We're also going to be talking about some transparency stuff and obviously typography. It's a very basic, simple ad, but it's clean and it's professional. So if you want to learn how to do it, stay with us now. All right, so right now we're in Adobe Photoshop CC 2014. And on the screen right now is a stock image that I purchased from bigstockphoto.com. Now, if you notice, when we come back into Illustrator, we're going to see a fade on the top of this image. That's how we're going to add it in Adobe Photoshop. So what we're going to do is we're going to come over to our layer, and we're going to come down here to an image mask, and we're going to click that. And now it's going to open up to, well, an additional rectangle. So the one on the left you click, that's the image, and on the one on the right is the actual mask. Now we're going to make an alteration to the actual mask. What we're going to do is we're going to come up to the brush up here, brush tool or B on the keyboard, and you're going to pick any brush up here, just something that fades out, and make sure that black is your foreground color. You can switch it by going like that. And basically, if you don't like the size of the brush, it's showing me a preview, you're going to hit closed bracket to make it smaller, or open bracket on your keyboard to make it larger, and you're literally just going to go across just like so. Hold shift while you're doing it, and I'm just going to do that once, and I'm going to go to File, Save As, and I'm going to save it as a PSD for right now. I'm just going to put New Beat Shot, that's what I'm going to call it, on my desktop. All right, now let's swing back to Adobe Illustrator, and we're going to come to File, New, and we're going to just name this Test for now. Number of artboards is going to be 1. The size right now, we're going to change that. We're going to make sure the units say inches, and we're going to change that to 3.66. And I'm going to hit Tab and then hit 5. I'm going to make sure it's portrait. And now we're going to add bleed on. We're going to add an 1/8 of an inch bleed. And this is just going to show us a guide, basically, to show us where to put the bleeds to. We're going to hit the up arrow and hit 0.125. And make sure in the advanced you see in CMYK and 300 pixels per inch. You're now going to hit OK. On our document, you're going to see 2 boxes, basically. You're going to see the black, which is the outline of the actual artboard, where the artboard is going to be cut to size. And the red area is where you're going to pull your bleeds out to. Bleed is that extra area you need to add, so when a printer cuts these, it's going to make sure that the color goes right to the edge. Now, a lot of times, well, actually, excuse me, every time I design, I do not add the bleed until the end. That's how most designers do it, because it kind of throws your balance off if you're looking at the bleed the whole entire time. So you always want to plan for bleed, especially if the image is going off the side, which is what we're going to do with this image. But we can go up to View, and we can go up to Guides, and we can hide guides. You can also do that by going to Shift semicolon, and Command semicolon, and to turn them on and off. I like to just turn them off completely so I don't have to be bothered looking at them while I design. Okay, so to make it easier for the purpose of the tutorial, I copied everything to the left of this artboard so I can kind of look left and right to make sure I designed it, to the same scale, because it's called refining. Refining a design can take a very long time. This design took a few hours to complete. Obviously, there were revisions and changes, and that's part of the time, but, I'm trying to make this tutorial a lot shorter than, the 2-hour mark. It's going to be way, obviously, shorter. It's going to be, 20 minutes or so. So what we're first going to do is we're going to take the logo. So we have the logo, and I'm just going to copy it up here. If it was smaller, obviously you would scale it up to whatever it needs to be. But what I want to do is I want to make sure I have the two colors in here, and I do have them as swatches in here already, but I'm going to delete those swatches and I'm going to show you how to make them. If somebody gave you their logo, what you'd want to do is you'd want to hit A on the keyboard to get the direct selection, and you'd want to click in the color. Hopefully there are vectors already. If they are not vectors, you're going to have to use the eyedropper, which is this tool right here. And for instance, if I click on the picture, it's going to pull specific colors out of that picture to change. Let me back up. Okay, so hit A on your keyboard, and you're going to click a vector color, and it's going to come up here into your color. And basically what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to click and hold down and drag it right in your swatches. How cool is that? The second thing is we're going to click this color, this gold right here. We're going to click and we're going to select that. Now, if I make a box or any shape, I could literally put these exact colors in there now. Pretty cool, right? All right, so I'm going to delete that box. First thing we're going to do is we are going to come up here to the rectangle tool, and we're just going to make a rectangle. And like I said, I'm going to basically make it the same scale, and I'm going to make the rectangle right here. Okay. Actually, you know what I am going to do is I'm going to pull this down a little bit because I know there was bleed on it. I'm going to pull this rectangle down just a little bit. I'm going to fill it with that darker red. I'm now going to hit Command C. I'm going to copy that. All right. And I am going to paste in front, and I'm going to go Command F to paste in front. I basically pasted it in front of itself. There's a few ways to do what I'm doing right now, but it's just a way that I'm showing you how to do right now. In a second, I'll show you how to do it another way. But basically, I want to create this gold bar on the top and this gold bar underneath. So I'm now going to come over to here. I'm going to pull this up, and I'm now going to hit the up arrow on my keyboard. So what I did was basically I made sure they were the same width by copying the same exact element on top of itself, and now I'm just nudging it up a little bit. We're now going to fill that with gold. We're going to zoom in because I do not like the thickness of that. It's got to be a little bit thinner, and we're going to hit A on our keyboard. The reason we hit A is so we can select the line segment and then make it shorter that way. If you do it with the regular selection, you're going to have to come right into the middle and grab this very point right here. If I hit A on my keyboard, you're going to click the line, and you're going to be able to just pull it down from there. So when you're doing it, you want to hold Shift, because if you don't, this is going to happen, and that is not desirable. So we're going to hold Shift while we're doing it, make it a little bit thinner. And now, using the direct selection, you can move it, but the only way you're going to be able to move it is if you click it in the middle. All right, now you're selecting the object. If you click the outside, you're going to move the whole segment. You don't want to do that. So we're going to move that down a little bit. All right, and now I just showed you one way. I copied it on top of itself and moved it up. I'm going to show you another way now. Basically, the other way is you're going to take this right here. You're going to hold Option, and you're going to now click it and move it. All right, and while this is all happening, you're going to hold Shift so it doesn't move out of alignment, and it basically copied that same exact element right underneath. Now, you can be super anal and really look at everything. Oh, you know, measure is exactly far away, but I wouldn't waste my time. You want to develop a good eye for figuring out if the spacing's correct. The spacing here, it looks a little bit less than that, so I'm just going to move this up just a little bit. All right, cool. All right, so I get it to where I want it to be. So now we have that area. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to come up to File, and we're going to Place. And we're going to place that image that we made, new beach shot. I'm literally just going to click now. All right, now this beach shot is pretty big, and the reason it is big is because of the size that I determined it to be in Photoshop. Now, like I said, that's for the purpose of another tutorial. I also show in my Layout Design Bootcamp series, pretty much in every one, how to augment the size in Photoshop, but I'm not going to do that in this case. And when I say size, I really mean file size. So what we're going to do here is we're going to make a rectangle about from here to right under, a little bit above that gold bar, because if you see on the left, there's a white space above that gold bar. And now we're going to hit V on our keyboard, or A, either arrow, hold Shift, and select the image. So now you selected two things. When you hold Shift, it allows you to select multiple items. You're going to right click and go to Make Clipping Mask, or go to Object, Clipping Mask, Make. So I just showed you two ways on how to do it. We're now going to click off this element, and we're going to click it again. And we're going to now go to Object, Arrange, Send to Back, because we're just going to make sure that it is in the back. Because if I back up, Command Z, you're going to see it was right over this word, Comprehensive Financial Services. And if I go forward again, you're going to see how it gets the word pops out in front again. So we're now going to zoom in a little bit, pull that down. And if you want to manipulate what's in here, you're going to have to hit A on your keyboard to now mess around with the image in that clipping mask. Pretty cool, right? You can also hit E on your keyboard and now mess around with the size of it while it's in that clipping mask. So you're not going to, if you hit with the regular arrow, it's going to move the whole clipping mask. So you just want to mess around with what is inside for now. All right, so I'm going to get that to where I want it to be. You see that nice fade that we made before. It is working with everything. It's a nice soft feel. I do that on a lot of stuff. It's just a signature. It's a way that I do things. It's a way that I design. It's my style. So you might have your own style that is completely different from everybody else, and that's what makes you unique. And but that's what I show a lot of that, fading of images in throughout all the designs I do on YouTube. The very next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to literally select this whole box here. I'm going to select it. I'm going to hit Option, hold Option. I'm going to click. I'm going to shift it down. So we're copying again just like we did to the other one. I'm now going to make this a little bit shorter. As you can see, I want it to line up with the top of this. So I'm going to hit A on my keyboard. And you don't even have to click or anything. You could just hit the down arrow on your keyboard, which is pretty cool. And we're going to fill that with the gold color. Now, we're going to get into some typography. So the very first thing we're going to do is we're going to come up to our text tool, type tool, excuse me. We're going to hit, literally just click, or you can click down and open and make a box. But we're going to hit, type it specializing in, okay? And now we're going to hit escape. We're going to select Trahan Pro, or however the heck you say it. If you want to correct me in the comments, please give me the correct pronunciation for the future. And we're going to type, we're going to select that there. And we're actually going to select the bold version. And you will notice that Trajan Pro or Trajan Pro, whatever, the font, it does not match the font that's in their logo. But this is something that does work because it is a different serif font, but it's also something the client, no matter what, wants. So whatever the client wants, they're going to get. So you have to make it look the best that you can, even if you feel it doesn't work. But in this case, it actually does work. So what we're now going to do is we're going to make sure that it's aligned to the center point in case we have to change this later, because we are centering this in the middle of this box. And the way that we're going to make sure that this is centered is we're going to come up here to the reference point that is right up here, and you're going to see an X value. You're going to want to make sure that the X value is half of what 3.66 is. And basically you're saying that through the center point of the actual piece right here, it needs to end up at 1.83, which is half of 3.66 from the left. That's basically what it's doing. So you're going to basically type out 1.83 and you're going to hit tab, and you're going to notice that boom, it shoots right in the middle. Don't worry about doing the Y value on your own. You can just literally just move it yourself now, but hold shift while you do it, because if you don't, it's going to go that way. We're now going to fill that with white. And I'm just going to move it up a little bit more. And the reasoning why I made you make this paragraph align through the center is because if you have to now lower the font size, it's going to stay straight in the center like that. If you have it left or right justified, it's going to move to the left or move to the right. You definitely don't want that. The very next thing we're going to do is we're going to go to Option Click, and we're going to shift this over. Very simple. And we're going to just type out comprehensive wealth planning. We're going to hit escape to end the selection, and we're now going to come down and we're going to go to about 6-point type. I know that sounds crazy, but this font actually prints out readable at this font, and the client didn't want it any larger or any smaller, so you always have to go with what the client wants in the end. We're now going to go to Option Click, and we're going to shift that down, and we're going to type out the next line. We're going to hit escape, and I'm now going to actually make sure that these are both left justified, and you can even hit horizontal left alignment tool to make sure they're aligned. And to make this, well, actually, you know what? Let's do one more thing. Before the C, we're going to go to Option 8. All right, we're going to make a, where we at? Option 8. Oh, okay. So option 8 with the Trident Pro, it makes actually a different symbol. So forget about making a bullet point. What we're now going to do is we're going to make our own bullet point by coming up to the ellipse tool. And this is how I do it a lot of times. I'll just make a little bullet right there. And now I'm going to go to option click and I'm going to shift it down. I'm going to zoom out. And I'm now going to select 1, 2, hold shift while you do all these, 3, 4. We're going to go to option, hold shift, and it's going to pull that all the way over. We're now going to type out portfolio management and retirement planning. We're going to hit escape. Now, if you notice, everything is off center to the left, and we don't want that. So what we're going to do is we're going to select all this stuff right here, and we're going to go to Object, Lock, Selection, or Command 2. If you're using layers and you feel comfortable using layers, go ahead. I don't use layers at all. Well, once in a blue moon, but hardly, because it slows me down. So learning to lock and unlock elements with the keyboard command shortcuts is a key thing to learn. So now that I've done that, first I'm going to take these elements right here. I'm going to shift them over because they're a little bit close. And I'm going to now select all 4 of these elements, actually 8 with the bullets, and we're going to now shift that over. Okay? We can also come up here to the X value and do 1.83 again, and it will center that whole entire piece. So that area is done. The next area we're going to do is basically the middle area right here. But before we do that, we are going to come into our logo, and we're going to make this ghosted area first. And what we're going to do is we're going to go to Option Click, and we're going to shift it over. All right. Now this whole entire logo is grouped. So to very simply get rid of everything else in the group without ungrouping and then ungrouping and ungrouping again, just hit A on the keyboard, select everything with the direct selection, and hit escape. Very simple. We're now going to hit, you know what? Hold on one second. I just want to make sure. What do we got in here? Okay, cool. All right, so what we're going to do here is we're going to select the logo and we're going to make it, we're going to scale it higher. All right, we're going to scale it to where we want it to be. And like I said, I'm not going to get it exact to what I had because you know, it took a little while to do this and experimentation, but I know my goal was to make sure that the bottom of this went pretty much straight down, so instead of curving in like that, and it went pretty much halfway through the piece. So I didn't really want it over here or over there too much. I wanted it halfway because I still wanted to be able to put information over here and information over there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to scale that up just a little bit more so it's pretty happy with it. Even a little bit more than that. And we're now going to come up here into the rectangle tool. We're going to make a box because we're going to clip that whole thing out. And we're going to hit V on our keyboard now. Hold shift, click the logo, right click, and hit make clipping mask. We're now going to come into our transparency and come down to 7%. All right. And I believe I had that over. Okay. So if you don't see it going over this red or this down here, basically what you want to do is you want to click this and you want to go to Object, Arrange, Bring to Front. But as you notice on the final piece, I did not have it go over the gold. So I'm going to come to the gold and now go to Object, Arrange, Bring that to the front. So it only goes over to the red. Okay, so it's like tucked in. I didn't want to get in the way of this tagline down here. So next thing we're going to do is we're going to literally make it easy for ourselves. Go to Option, click, Shift Specializing in down. Let's fill it with black for now, even though it is actually going to be in black. We're going to take the bold off, go back to regular. We're going to type out Wealth Advisors, hit Escape, and we're going to scale this down by using the endpoints. Hold Shift while you do it, and hold Option so it scales it down through the center point. Okay. I just want to point out one thing, that with this font, all right, if I don't type in caps, look at the W on Wealth, all right? If I type in caps, all right, it's going to do what's called small caps, basically. So everything is caps, but the first letter is even larger cap. So we're going to hit Escape, and we're going to delete that. We're now going to come down here, and we're going to go to Option, click Shift, down again, and we're going to type out the owner's names, ampersand, hit Escape. We're going to fill it with that red to keep it consistent. We're now going to scale this down a little bit. All right. Make sure you always keep everything around an eighth to a quarter. Well, yeah, an eighth of an inch from the edge. Quarter is kind of a lot. But next thing we're going to do is we're going to come up here to the line segment tool. We're going to create a line. It's pretty thin. We're going to come into here into the stroke, and we're just going to select black. Actually, we're going to select like 70% gray. We're going to make sure our stroke is about half point. It's nice and thin and it's not obtrusive. Last thing is I'm just literally going to option click. I'm going to shift this over because this is basically, you know, simple text boxes. Same thing with this. Same thing with this text down here. This is all text boxes at this point, and I'm actually going to move this over a little bit because I don't want the logo cutting through the word park. I want to kind of cut this area out from that area. I just know right now that everything is behind this. So what I want to do is I want to click this, hit Command 2 to lock it, select both of these elements, come to Object, Arrange, Bring to Front. Right. Or maybe I was wrong. Maybe it wasn't behind it. But the last thing I'm going to do is I'm going to literally just go to Option click, and I'm going to shift these over because at this point you should be very good at making these text boxes. Make sure everything is center justified. But let me just make sure I didn't do something in here to show you. All right, cool. So what I did in here, I'm going to delete this. I'm going to Option click Shift, and I'm going to type out to have a conversation about the future. We're going to hit Escape, and now I'm going to scale this down. All right, I'm going to scale it down to a little bit more to where I want it to be. And I'm now going to come up to the character, and I'm going to hit the tracking right in here. I'm literally just going to add tracking to this because I didn't want the font to be any bigger, but I wanted to span this whole piece and be the same width as the first part of the tagline. So that's how you can go about doing that. You can refine it a little bit by justifying it like I did everything up here. All right, so now we are complete with this design, and we're going to start to set it up for print. And what we first want to do is we want to make sure that everything is unlocked. So we want to come up to Object, Unlock All, or I believe that is Shift Command 2, which you need to know by heart. So you want to stop coming up here and clicking things. You want to be able to know the keyboard command shortcuts so you can breeze through this. So as like the thought comes in your head, you're doing it on the screen. You know, you're doing it in real time, which is pretty cool. So what you want to do now is come back to Window of View, and we're going to come back to our guides and Show Guides, Command semicolon, and also we're going to hit Command A. So because everything's unlocked now, we're going to come up to Type, Create Outlines, or Shift Command O. Where are you? Here we are. All right, so it made all of our outlines, all of our type outline. Now you wanted to save this right before you did that. So I'm sorry, I'm telling you now, but save it before you create outlines, and then when we save it, the final piece, we're going to save it as something else so we don't screw up the original file. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to now hit A on our keyboard, and we're going to start adding our bleed. But we're going to open up a few clipping masks. We're going to open up this one right here. We're going to click on the line, and you're going to see now it selects it, and we're going to hit the right arrow to open it up. We're now going to click the left line over here and hit the left arrow to open that up, because basically that image is hiding behind that clipping mask. So all you did really was just open it up. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to come down to this clipping mask right down here, and you can also click and pull it. Just hold Shift while you're doing it. Okay, cool. Now what I'm going to do is, because I don't want to mess around with those two things that I just opened, I want to hit the V on my keyboard, the selection arrow, select the image, hold Shift, select that, and go to Object, Lock, Selection, or Command 2. Next thing we're going to do is hit A on our keyboard. Okay, we're going to hover over all the endpoints, basically on the gold, the red, and the gold down here, and we're going to hit the right arrow. It's going to pull them all open right now. Same thing on the left. And same thing on the bottom. You got to select both of those points. Cool. All right, so now very simply, we are going to go to File, Save As. We're going to save it as a PDF. All right, we're going to save it as a PDF. We're calling it Test PDF, and we're going to hit Save. And for right now, we're just going to do it as a high quality print, and we're going to come into marks and bleeds, and we're going to click trim marks, and we're going to click the bleed up here, and we're going to hit save PDF, and we're going to see what we got. All right, so now we're in Adobe Professional, just looking at this PDF, finalized PDF, and it looks exactly like what we designed. So that's a good thing. You always want to make sure you get a printed proof with anything that you send out. But I just want to mention that, as you can see crop marks in all four corners, and I pulled these blue guides out here just to show you that the image is going further than these crop marks, so it's doing exactly what we set it up to do, and the way we set it in the PDF to make it look like. So that's it, everybody. I hope you learned something from this video. I have many videos and series on YouTube, but this is kind of a different series I'm starting to do, where I'm going through actual work that I have done for clients, and showing you exactly the process of building it, and talking about the process that we went through, and how everything came to be and stuff like that. So please like this video, comment below, and share it out on your social networks. Let your friends, classmates, and colleagues know who does the best layout design videos on YouTube, and I will talk to you soon for the next tutorial. Have a great night, everybody. Peace.